Hi, everybody. I was talking to somebody about their paper and I had just thought, so when a thought comes up that I think might benefit you, I'm just going to add it in here, Friday or not. In this book, now you'll see why I made you read this thing, right? And why you did all of those posts where I had you get down your thoughts about what's going on. You will remember that there was a chapter on the elephant and the rider. And the main idea there is that we're going where we're going. That's the elephant. And then the rider says, oh, look, I wanted to go there. So, how this works in your paper and how I want you to expand your perspective, a lot of people have a great outline for a really nice, informative, even sometimes persuasive, but here are the facts. But if we're going to use this book and think that he's even close to being right, a lot of those facts don't matter. Right. And so when I say I want you to talk about the complexity of it, right, that's sort of what I want you to get at, because you can tell me and give all the facts you want on, say, for example, marijuana. And there's a really good chance that whatever the person getting that information, right, is going to say yes or no to those facts, to those ideas, not based on the facts, but based on, right, well, I'm a liberal, so go for it, this is good. I'm a conservative. Laws are laws, it's bad. It's not that simple, of course, and there'll be some liberals who aren't for it, and there'll be some conservatives who are, right? Libertarians, absolutely, for sure. So one thing to think about is, here are the facts. What are the different, how are different people and different groups going to respond to those facts? Because some might say, sure, fine, it's good for that, and yet I'm still not going to. So that gets into the complexity. Another thing that I want you to think about is uh, the world, the government, the corporation. And when I say the government, right, that's a big thing. And we have to break that down, because typically Democrats will respond one way to a lot of government issues. Republicans will respond another. So when we're talking about, right, whether it's abortion, gun rights, you name it, you can't just say the government's doing this, because most likely you've got one side is going to be for it, the other side's going to be against it, or a group just won't care because it's not what they care about. So that also goes with corporations. So the one that I like to use, and I've had a number of people write papers on this over the last couple of years. That's why I'm informed, right? Because of the work that they did. When it comes to marijuana, right? The two biggest corporations that don't want marijuana legalized are pharmaceutical companies, take their drugs, not this dang plant you can get, and private prisons, because so many people are in private prisons, right, for minor drug offenses. The prison's goal is to make as many people, the more people in prison, the better for a private prison company. So they do a lot of funding of keep marijuana illegal. Just like pharmaceuticals, they want you to take their drugs, not somebody else's. And you're going to have other people who've got other reasons for it, right? Bad experiences, they've seen people throw their lives away, you name it, but all of that's going to come together. So when you're trying to get information about marijuana, for example, some of those grassroots organizations, right? People against whatever, you're going to find out that they're actually, it's a pharmaceutical company who is funding them. Just like when you get into the environment, people will use global warming, right? Whatever you think about it, on both sides, and they're going to come up with all kinds of things for the solution, whether that makes sense or not, right? And I'm going for people who believe it and people who don't believe it, right? Because we're human beings, we want to get the elephant's going that way, and we're going to try to make sense and make it reasonable that that's where we're going, right? So do not forget the elephant in the rider. And so when I'm asking you for the complexity of your issue, right, think about what are the different groups and what shapes their responses to what's going on. One of the things you can do when you are searching is say you're looking into capitalism for something. You could put in your search former capitalist, right? Former feminist, former conservative, former liberal. And then when you see them, you're going to hear them, right? I used to believe this, now I don't. And it's going to help you kind of see, oh, there are other groups. And then you find out who is taking them in, right? Because then that becomes interesting. So I wanted to throw that out there. Expand what you're looking at. Remember, the idea is to show us how complex this is. You do not have to cover 27 different angles. That would be crazy. But I do want you to show that you know that, hey, here's a fact. And look, these 2-3 groups are all going to use it differently. Right? There was a really good book I had my students read about 10 years ago called The Culture of Fear. And it was basically how both the left and the right would take an event like a shooting and they would use it to make their point. And so whenever anything terrible would happen and people were afraid and then they're paying attention, you know, people on the left would say, see, do what we do. People on the right would be, see, this is what you need to do. Same event. People look at it differently. So that's the complexity I want you to get to in your paper. As always, send me any emails if you've got questions or instant message me or you name it, all those ways to contact me. Right? You'll probably get 2 more of these videos over the weekend.